Richard Corsie coming a little bit stronger to come around the back, anticipating that at some time a back bowl will be useful.
He's pulling in. Beautiful.
Good bowl. But now I suspect that Robert Hitchen must fear that a striking bowl now from Richard Corsie could squirt that jack back around about 8 o'clock, where there are 2 blue bowls which could come into the count. Doesn't really need to fire it, just needs to make it good and strong.
Well, he's winding up here.
He's got a hold of it.
But he's left 2 for himself.
Well, there you are. The jack did go across there. The 2 blue bowls are best.
Well, it's well exposed. Lethal striking.
Richard Corsie, hearing a story about him, he's smashed about 3 jacks in the last year. And at around about 20-25 quid a time, it comes a bit expensive. His own bowls are absolutely scarred with little marks on them where he makes contact. That was a very, very fine strike. Robert Hitchen drawing a superb ball. Absolutely first class. And that is a really wonderful ball, because this was a totally unexplored piece of land.
Absolutely new territory. But if he clears this off, Hugh, he's left himself with 3 to count.
Well, that's supposing that he leaves his own ball on the
Should he do that?
on the green.
Yes.
Robert Hitchen. Not too sure he should be standing where he is at the moment.
He's safer outside the rink. Yes.
Yeah, here we go again. He's
missed
got
it.
Oh. He got it all right, but the red ball stayed there. So Robert Hitchen scores again. Well, I think we might just go back and have a look at the striking action of Richard Corsie, particularly the one where he came in there, and the bowls scatter everywhere. The 2 reds go off the green, and the white jack comes across and leaves him with 2 shots. It was a really powerful strike and beautifully timed. But in actual fact, he couldn't make the same sort of contact with his second striking shot. Lost 1 on the end, which gives Robert Hitchen the chance to set the jack up and widen his grin, because he holds a 2-1 lead in this second set.
This ferocious striking by Richard Corsie has brought gasps of admiration from a crowd used to the striking power of Norman Fletcher and Brian Duncan.
Well, he's past the jack, is Robert Hitchen, but I'm sure that all the flat bowlers who are here watching that say, well done, son. If you can't be right on the jack, at least get behind it. Richard Corsie has crept just behind. Partisan audience encouraging that bowl in from Robert Hitchen. Beautiful ball. Richard Corsie trying to make sure he's got a good second in there before he disturbs anything. He'll be unhappy with that.
Well, if he's going to use the strike, he's a little bit in his own way. Robert needs some protection now.
So the left-hander, Robert Hitchen, bowling what to him is the forehand and what to the right-hander is the backhand.
Giving it more land. Needs to tuck behind. Beautiful.
Yes, and she just topples back, and so he's in for two. Again, the audience, a little hush falls over them. They almost try to will this red bowl of Robert Hitchen in towards the jack. But he's bowling well now. Every right to be very proud of that one. Richard Corsie, who was finding this backhand track with alarming regularity in the first set, has lost his weight. The line isn't too bad, but he's lost the weight that he was judging his delivery so perfectly in the first set. Robert Hitchen.
Could be a good wood round there, Hugh.
Yes, that will not displease him. In the event, it means that he's holding two in actual fact. Well, he was holding two. And now Richard Corsie is holding one. And Robert Hitchen decides it's time for walkabout. Come down and have a look.
Urged on by many fans of the Yorkshiremen in the crowd. They've come over from Huddersfield in force tonight.
When it comes to walkabout in bowls, Richard Corsie there, well, that's second nature to him. He's a trainee postman up in Edinburgh. He knows what it is to stride up and down. So having had a really good look at the head, he's decided to come in on the other hand, maybe promote his own bowl. He's cut it very, very tight and could... Well, he's shaved through at the back.
I had a feeling he might have come the other way there, Hugh, and tried, if possible, to run the jack to his own backwood.
Well, Richard Corsie can just draw in for another shot now. It doesn't need to have too much weight on it. As long as he gets around the back of the jack. That's what he's trying to do. He seems to have judged that weight around about right. Well, it's in front. But those are pressure bowls now on Robert Hitchen. The striking bowl, I think, is being forced upon him.
Well, with two of the three backwoods, a nicely weighted drive would pay dividends.
And of course, Richard Corsie still has a bowl to come after the young Yorkshireman lets this one go. It's an inviting target.
Got his own.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, I'm afraid his firing shot rather let him down there. It seemed impossible that he could fail to make contact with a portion of one of the blue balls, Brian.
Yes, it was a bad strike. He's certainly left two, and it's possibly a gift three.
So Richard Corsie just needing to drop one in gently. Yes, there we are. There's a sweeter three as you could possibly hope to see. And with that, the scores are level now in the second set at 4-4. And we shall now take a short break, but we shall rejoin this exciting match in just a moment or two. And while you've come into the head, and that was the third one, that one from Richard Corsie. And Robert Hitchen now putting up his second bowl to this head. The score's level, 4-4.
Too tight.
No change. Richard Corsie then holding the shot. He's been up there to have a look at that situation. No reason at all why he shouldn't just draw in again down that forehand track and start building up even more pressure. Robert Hitchen. Ball on a good travel. It's got good green. Needs to cut inside that red ball. Yes, he has. There's two there. I wonder how much damage to his mental concentration that strike in the last end has put on Robert Hitchen, Brian.
He seems momentarily to have lost that length. He was just getting some sort of a rhythm going there, Hugh, when he made that mistake. It could cost him the set and the match. This is more like it.
No, it's going to be short. Or it has given up, as I understand it is said.
Given up, we say here. A little suggestion from the crowd. There's a little bit of dew settling on this green this time of night. That won't help him.
Well, it's amazing that the roof of this brand new studio complex here doesn't let rain in after the amount that's fallen in Manchester today.
Well, possibly that's something to do with Robert Hitchen arriving on the scene. Known in the game as the Rainmaker, seems to follow him wherever he goes.
Well, he needs a bit of a thunderstorm down there at the moment.
Well, they're absolutely in line, aren't they?
To get at that with
He's got to use
a striking bowl is practically impossible, and it's got to be a drawing bowl.
Got to win it outright, yeah.
Otherwise, Richard Corsie will be a long way in front. He's trying to come in the other way, right? Now let's see.
A lot to do here. He's trying for him. He's trying.
He's given it an awful lot to do. No, I'm afraid not. Well, that's one for certain. Marker has marched back down here, having given one, but Robert Hitchen hasn't yet gone up, and I'm not sure. Oh, yes, Richard Corsie is quite happy to take the one. That is it. So Richard Corsie now moves into a 5-4 lead in the second set, having won the first 7-0.
How things have swung around for Robert Hitchen at 4-1 ahead. Terrible mistake to allow Richard Corsie in with the treble. And the game has swung away from the Yorkshireman.
The talents of this young man are clear for all to see, and we shall be seeing a very, very great deal more of this young man. Got his first international cap, the youngest ever Scottish international in the outdoor British Isles tournament, British Championship tournament in Larne, Northern Ireland, a short while ago. In fact, his skip in that was Roy White, who was playing in this competition, the Superbowl competition. And there'll be many, many more caps and many more titles and championships for this young man, Richard Corsie. 2 round the back. That's the 2 that he would require to take this set and the match. So once again, Robert Hitchen has got to do a saving job to stay alive, and he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that backhand track.
It's not.
Well, to him it's forehand, of course, but it is, in fact, the backhand track.
It's not the first time he's looked a little disgusted after taking that track in. The crowd are calling for the wood to hook, but it's not hooking at all the way it would normally be expected to behave.
Corsie holding 2, building up, building up. Another good ball coming in. Now it's 3.
And of course
2 behind and 1 in front.
Just needs 2. 2 for the match.
Any 2 from 3. And it's his match. Well, the best one can hope to say for that is at the moment it's the best back bowl. But I really cannot see that it will come into play. It might. Robert Hitchen has his last bowl in his hand when he's allowed to deliver it. I think he's already feeling that he's going to fire at this. Just wondering if Richard Corsie will try now to drop a bowl in front.
Yes, he's built a wall at the back, Hugh, so if he just gets 1 in front as well, that's a formidable target.
Right, he said. Try and pick them out of that. And all 4 have got to go. Otherwise, Robert Hitchen is out of the game. Therefore, he has got to hit the jack. Striking bowls here is no good to him at all. No, I said all 4. In fact, 3 out of 4.
Well, he's doing the honourable thing. He's playing up.
He's playing up onto the jack. He's going to pick it up. Oh, what rotten luck. Well, I think there's 2 left in there. Robert Hitchen looks down. I think this match is over. Yes, it is. Robert Hitchen looks and shakes the hand of Richard Corsie, whose 2 shots there give him the second set at 7-4, he having taken the first set at 7-0. Not as comprehensive a thrashing as perhaps we might have anticipated after the 7-0 whitewash in the first set, Brian.
That's right, Hugh. I thought at one stage, at the beginning of the second set, that Robert was getting into the swing of things, but back came this young man from Scotland with a warning blast for all the big names left in, that he can do the business if he just sticks to this sort of length, relentless striking, efficient building of heads. Well, what more do you want?
His head seemed to drop just a little bit. That strike.
Yes.
I think he must have felt that he ought to have got that one.
I think so, yes. It was a bad miss. But normally it's well for a long, long time. The audience very, very impressed. I've noticed a lot of people here, top bowlers around this arena tonight, who've gasped as the strikes have gone whizzing through.
Well, I know Mike Leach was up in the box, and because he'd be very interested that 7-1, 7-2 was the score that Richard Corsie put on Mike Leach. So the young man from Edinburgh, Richard Corsie, has put out 2 crown bowlers in a row now. Mike Leach in the first round, and now Robert Hitchen, 7-0, 7-4. And we'll leave the arena for a moment or 2 and take you over to our studio where Elton Wellesby is.
Thanks, Hugh. What a fiery performance that was by Richard Corsie. You'll go a long way to see a more competitive attitude than that. Richard, well done. Did you feel for your opponent at any stage in that match?
No, well, played well at the start and I just kept the rhythm going.
Yes. Was anything said during the match between you?
Not really, no. It was quite quiet. It's very quiet.
Did you enjoy the atmosphere out there?
It's a different atmosphere from what we're playing in. The Crown Green players tend to shout out more than that, and it's a lot different.
You're well pleased with your performance though, surely?
Well, I played well at the start. And
The marking job. So 1 is out.
one ball on Colin. There's 1 ball on.
It was a single already. And now umpire Colin MacDonald has the tape measure out to see if Tony Allcock is going to get more than a single. Yes, 2 it is. So Tony Allcock takes now a very substantial 4-0 lead here in the second set. The first set already under his belt with a 7-2 score. But they've now played a total of 9 ends, so Tony Allcock has got no way of picking up that £1,000 cheque for the least number of ends to win a match. That's still in the hands of Jim Boyle at the moment. Tony again on the forehand track, which he's found pretty well coming in this direction so far. A little bit short. Interesting enough, this is Robert Hitchens' second crack at Super Bowl. He came here last year, but for Tony Allcock, it's his first time here. And Robert Hitchen has picked up a very good bowl there. And has himself the shot.
The ball was in line with the front of the jack.
And Robert Hitchens says thank you very much. That just nudges the shot bowl into a position very much more adjacent to the jack. And it's a bit vulnerable where it is. I think Robert Hitchen would be well advised to have something around the back. Well, he's done very well. He's got himself a toucher there.
Well, that's very good position, Hugh. That last bowl is right in the draw. It's very close to the jack. Makes it nearly impossible to get shot off the forehand. And Tony won't want to play the backhand. He's shown a great reluctance to change his hand. He's going to try and draw as close as he can.
He's not going to be far away. That was a marvellous reply from Tony Allcock. So Robert Hitchen, who was holding 2, now comes down to find that he's only holding 1. I'm sure he'd like to have a go at try and roll that red bowl out, but it would be a dodgy situation. I think he'd be satisfied to take the 1 there.
Yeah, it's very good tactics there from Tony Allcock, I feel. First set was his 7-2, 4-0 up. 2 good shots against him. Play it tight, play for a good second. You can't go very far on singles. And he's got that bowl in a position where if Robert Hitchen does touch it, it might fall backwards towards the jack and even get shot. So Robert Hitchen's got to be very careful here. He dearly wants to score more shots. If he's pushed it out wide, it won't get back.
No, he's not going to win anything with that one. Well, if Tony Allcock could find the identical path of his third bowl with his final bowl and just take, what, 2 inches of running off it, he could sneak it here.
Well, as I say, Hugh, even if he touches his own bowl and it topples it, in sitting down it falls back towards the jack, it might just fall back enough to make it, but I think he's changing his hand. I think he's playing backhand. He's going to try and draw around the bowl just to trail the jack for 2. But they don't like this side of the ring for some reason, and well, possibly not a very confident effort there from Tony, but it doesn't do Robert any good.
Robert just gave a little shake of his head as Tony Allcock comes down to see exactly what faces Robert Hitchen now. The audience here on the edge of their seats discussing amongst themselves what they might be doing if they had the opportunity to go down there and try their hand. So here's Robert's last bowl. No change. So a single to Robert Hitchen. That's a good round of applause from the audience here. That's him on the board finally in this second set. But Tony Allcock has a 4-1 lead. Tony Allcock waited a long time to win that English Indoor Championships. British Open champion and one of the greatest bowlers in the world, in fact. Robert Hitchen then. Going away on a very, very long jack. Got to push out to reach this one, and he's got a good opening ball.
Yes, I expected this tactic from Robert Hitchen. He's played the jack full length. I think he's been afraid to push his bowls out on the shorter length because being left-handed, he's been sticking. Now on this longer length, he's getting a better turn. And who knows, he might have an advantage on Tony on line. Well, Tony's not played a very good one with that one. Perhaps here's a chance for Robert Hitchens to strike back.
Yes, I think the best we can say for that one was that it might just be in the draw. Robert Hitchen then. His first was a beauty. The second, in fact, just a little extra length. So he's got the two at the back, and both of them are counting at this precise moment. That's a better ball. There's the shot.
A ball shot.
So Robert, who got away fairly well with his first two, is not at all happy about that one. Once again, his line is wayward. Didn't give it enough land.
Yes, it looked an obvious shot on Robert's forehand. Remember, he's left-handed. But he didn't want to change. He obviously doesn't like the forehand too much, and he preferred to play a little extra weight to play through the shot bowl or trail the jack. Whereas I think Tony might now be looking to cover those three back bowls. He can't afford to drop a four. He's got to get one round the corner, and he'll probably play off the backhand.
Yes, there's the backhand ball. Seems to have cut it a little bit narrow. Well, it's more or less round the back. Now, is Robert Hitchen going to try the same thing? He can wrest the shot bowl out. Well, he certainly put some running on that one. It's zipped through, it's not going to touch anything. Tony holding one. Could have two. Yes, I would say that is two. Let's see what Robert Hitchen says. One for certain. Tony Allcock quite happy to take one. So, Tony Allcock, having won that first set 7-2, now has a 5-1 lead in the second set. Robert Hitchen is a brilliant young crown bowler. Greenall's champion of champions, that's the one he really wanted to win, he was telling me. That marks him as one of the great stars of the game. And Tony Allcock has a jack-high bowl. Robert Hitchen has found one here. And a little smile of pleasure on his face. And a fine response from this audience here in stage one.
It's jack high.
Yes, apart from one or two loose deliveries, Robert Hitchen hasn't played badly at all in this set. I feel he's a little bit unlucky to be 5-1 down. It was really one loose end. Apart from that, he's always had something pretty close. Last end he had two very good bowls there, but Tony just managed to sneak the shot. And Robert has the nearest at the moment.
Of course, Robert Hitchen, who took part in this competition last year, Superbowl, has had some time to practice on the flat since and is beginning to show in his game. Two excellent bowls here from Robert Hitchen. Tony putting a little bit extra on this. Now, what does he hit? Oh, that was a very nice bowl. And in fact, he's got a toucher. And it looks to me as though he's got two counters. And the head now very, very opened up. So from being 2 up, Robert Hitchen is now 2 down. And that would be enough to win this second set and the match if there is no change.
Yes, it was two very, very good bowls from Robert Hitchen, but unfortunately, it was a big target. Now, there's still nothing within 2 feet of the jack. And Robert Hitchen, I think very wisely, is sticking to the same hand. He's just got to draw wood, miss the short ones, miss the 2 counted bowls, and he can drop in for shot. Oh, but he's unlucky.
Deserved better. And I suggest that he's probably cut it down from 2 to 1. Yes, he has. Tony,
The short ball is about
the
8
chance
inches
though
in front.
to
8 inches short.
Tony the chance to bung another one in there. And of course Robert Hitchen, his last bowl in his hand, watching this final delivery of this end by Tony Allcock. Just creeping past. I think that might just be there, you know. And marker David Phillips has a good look down and he thinks it's 2. And if that is so, that's this set for Tony Allcock, unless Robert Hitchen can produce something with his very last bowl.
Yes, and of course now it's far more difficult. He was very, very unlucky with his 3rd bowl. He stuck to the hand that he'd been playing. He had good weight, pretty good line, but just caught the bowl. But of course he's pushed it nearer the jack. And it is that much more difficult now. But if he tries the same shot again, he could nudge his short bowl up. That is the one that promoted Tony Allcock's bowl for shot. He could nudge that up for a good second, or draw through the gap for shot.
So here's Robert Hitchen, the young man from Halifax. Is this his last bowl in the competition? I wonder. No, it's coming well. Oh, he's just missed it. It's gone out. And I think this is the 2. So, It's all over. Tony Allcock, in fact, has got the 2 shots he wants there. Robert Hitchen comes down, agrees to it, and the young man from Halifax, the crown bowler, goes out to the great Tony Allcock. 7-2, 7-1. And now from here, over to the studio and Elton Wellsby.
Thanks, Hugh. Well, that really is the measure of what the Crown Green bowlers are facing this week. I've been joined by Brian Brett, one of our commentators, our Crown Green bowling specialist. Now, one of the Crown Green's biggest hopes was Robert Hitchen, but he really played against one of the top men in top form.
He was unlucky getting that draw, really, wasn't he? He didn't play that badly, Robert. I think David Bryant made the point at 5-1 down in the second set. He really didn't have anything going. A few times he might have picked up 3, 4, but the tactics of the flat green bowlers are all important, you know.
Brian, tell us the fundamental difference between flat and crown for those people who live in an area where crown green bowling isn't played at all.
Well, they tend to play over small hills, that sort of thing, bit of rough grass. No, it's a very sort of cultivated surface they play on, but they play different lengths, they play on different territory.
2 woods, of course.
2 woods, and the important thing again is the woods are about £1 pound lighter, and the jack as well is biased. So you can follow the jack in crown, but not in flat, so it's quite different. The challenge is enormous. In fact, last night, Hitchen was in fact playing crown and qualified down in Stafford, playing a 31 of crown. He's now going to change this set length.
Yes.
They don't make it easy for themselves if they're going to play crown at the same time as flat.
And yet, over the past 12 months, since Superbowl 1984,
Yes.
they've joined indoor bowling
They
clubs
have.
and they've been practicing a lot. They didn't do well last year, but are we expecting them to do a lot better this time
We're
around?
expecting them to do better and to get closer and to show more of an awareness of the tactics. Now, whether that's going to work or whether we're going to see a repetition of what just happened to poor Robert Hitchen remains to be seen. I would like to think some of them are going to progress.
Who?
Well,
do you
Noel
think?
Burrows obviously has played an awful lot. He plays almost 50-50 crown and flat these days. Richard Britton is a boy from the Midlands who plays 50-50. Alan Thompson has been a fine flat bowler for a long time now. Norma Fletcher we've got coming up, and he will play a sort of a half crown game, won't he? He's going to be firing or striking, as we call it in the crown game, and we could have a few fireworks there, and possibly he could go through.
Yes, I mean, that's a fair point. There are basically 2 fundamental tactics in crown green bowling. That's to get the wood right next to the jack,
Yes.
or just knock them out of the way.
That's right. You can do that with 2 woods, but with 4 it's a little more tactical, isn't it? The first 2 woods up are positional woods, and then the 3rd and 4th, you're going to go for the kill. It is an enormous difference from the game, but Norman Fletcher's been down practicing an awful lot, which he probably wasn't able to do a year ago. We now have a number of flat centres in the Northwest in particular.
Right, okay, Brian. Well, we're going to take a short break now. After the break, I'm going to be joined up here by Tony Allcock. The next game on will be Andy Ross against Norman Fletcher. All that follows this short break. Welcome back. We've got 2 players through to the second round of the Liverpool Victoria Insurance Super Bowl. Jim Boyle this morning, and you've just seen Tony Allcock, a 12 ends victory against Robert Hitchen from the Crown, and you look to have found the line and length there, Tony, quite quickly, quite easily.
Yes, I did really, and I think that's what it's all about at this game. You've got to be there quick, you know, you've got to find it very quickly.
How do you feel about having to play against Crown Green players? The style of this tournament, if you like.
Yeah, it's very difficult because I think they've got a different style, a unique style, and of course you're playing in Crown Green country, and the Crown obviously are here to support the Crown Green players, but they're a very fair crowd and they're alive and you can feel them there, you know, it's really sort of electric out there.
I was going to say, you weren't with us 12 months ago. This is your first experience
That's
at
right.
Super Bowl. It
That's right.
meets your approval, does it?
Yeah, it's super. Yeah, I heard a lot about it, and unfortunately I couldn't accept the invitation last year, but I was sorry to have missed it, but very pleased to be here. It's superb. Yeah.
Now, you are playing very well. You've won the last 3 big indoor tournaments, really, the English Singles, the British Open, and the Lombard Welsh Classic. What are your chances, do you think, of winning this one?
I don't know, Elton. It's a big field. It's a good field. I think the thing you've got to go on the green with the attitude that if somebody's going to beat you, then they've got to play better, and I think that's the only way.
I think you always feel, don't you, that your temperament is one of your greatest assets.
Probably, yes. I think, but that's something that's perhaps matured over the last sort of 10 years, and perhaps the last 4 in particular.
Did you realise, you know, that at the start of the tournament this morning you were 8-1, and everyone hit the bookies, and all of you came down very quickly to 5s.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, well, probably when I wobbled 1 or 2 balls, perhaps that was all the money on it then.
What about the next round?
Well, that's a difficult one. Jim Ball, obviously a very seasoned Scottish player. I think it'll be an exceptionally good game, yes. And you can't take anyone too lightly in this field.
Jim got through his match against Nancy Gibson in 7 ends, 35 minutes. Do you think that'll win this £1,000 bonus for the quickest match?
He's got a pretty good chance, but of course the first rounds are always the one. If you get somebody that isn't quite hitting it, then it can be a very, very quick game, and you know, it'll be very interesting to see. I'm sure that Jim's sweating already.
The players welcome that as a point of interest, that kind of thing?
I don't think so. I think that really you're sort of, if you were in a position where you were laying game and you're only 6 ends, you'll be conscious that this means £1,000. But I think you're going on there to win into the next round, and I think that's the most important. And then if you get there by winning the sort of most ends, or the least, by winning by the least ends, you're obviously in for a bonus.
But on the other hand, it is proof, isn't it? The bowls now has arrived. It's a big television sport. Yeah. It's a big money sport as well. That's got to be great for everyone like yourself.
Yeah,
30 years of age, have got a great future in this sport.
Yeah, thanks very much.
All right.
Yeah, well, I think yes, I think I have. But there's a lot of younger bowlers. But I'd like to think that it's a sport for all. I mean, you know, I'm 30, but I mean, you know, last week I was probably beaten by somebody well into their 70s. And I think that's good for the game, that you can't get too big. And I think the most consistent people do the winning these days. But you never, you know, there's always a good hiding around the corner for you. It might be tomorrow and it might be next year, but it's there.
All right, Tony. Well, it might be this week, it might not. Thanks for joining us, and well done on that win today.
Thanks very much.